This is going to be a rundown on how to do your face from like primer all the way to setting and powder and all that stuff. So I'm going to show you. You'll probably end up getting some primer from e.l.f. or whatever, but either way, it needs to be a primer that's doesn't have a lot of silicone in it. The primer that I'm using has moisture in it, and it's primer too. So I'm just going to put that on my face. I'll put it in fast forward. And I moisturized my face really well this morning. So there shouldn't be any issues with that. So now I'm going to fan off my face. You have to let the primer dry. It's really important to let primer dry. So I usually just use a fan, or you can use you can just walk around the house and do something or whatever. You don't have to use a fan, but this just makes it go faster. Oh, I gotta go wet my sponge too. So I went and wet one of my sponges here, and I'm gonna show you the difference in the size. So this is a non-wet sponge and this is a wet sponge, and it's super soft. This is one of those sponges that I sent you from Shop Miss A. This is the best sponge ever. So with the makeup that you have, after I lay down the primer's dry. So I'm gonna pull out the makeup that you got, and this is the Beyond Perfecting stuff. This is the Clinique stuff that you got. You're probably gonna need to do some color correcting. So let me see. This might be easier for you to cover up your under eyes or whatever. But this is from Clinique too. It is the Beyond Perfecting Super Concealer, and it's in the peach color, and it is the color correcting. So I just put a little bit on my finger here, and I'm just gonna dot it. I know it looks crazy, but I put it in the places that I know that are blemished or like dark, because it basically counter corrects all that. And I'm gonna take a dry sponge and just kind of, it's basically evening out your skin tone, so that when you put the stuff on, the foundation on, everything will kind of be the same color underneath. So if you have dark circles, it's going to make them peach, which will in turn cause the foundation to work, you know, as a stabilizer basically. You can just take the wet sponge and go over it if you want to, if you feel like it's too dark or feel like you got too much in one spot. That'll also help keep the moisture in. Either way, I'm going to try to do it the best I can to show you what'll be easiest for you. So I'm going to start up here. It's got this big doe foot on it. And because of our age, we don't want to really mattify anything on the face, because it's going to make, woo, that just went everywhere. It's going to make our wrinkles show more, especially like crow's feet, stuff like that. So that's why this stuff is so good, because it's not mattifying. Alright, so I just put one layer of that on. This is buildable. You can put a few layers of this on and still be able to work with it. So just start taking the big end of the sponge and pushing it into the skin. And just keep on moving with it. But around the nose, like to get in the crevice of the nose, you're gonna have to kind of pull your nose up like that. Like that. And make sure it's getting in there real good. And this is the best way to put this stuff on without streaking it, because if you use a brush and you don't know what you're doing, not anything against you, but if you don't know what you're doing, your makeup will streak like crazy, and it will look crazy, and it'll dry before you can get it pressed into the skin. So that's why I suggest doing this first. And then if you decide you want to start using a brush with it, then you're gonna have to figure out how this works on your skin. But see how it neutralized my whole face? Like now everything is basically the same color. Make sure you bring it down the neck real good, up into the ears, to the hairline. And this isn't sopping wet, like it's just damp. Damp enough to make it make your makeup just melt into the skin. So if you look at your face really close up, like I have these right here, I call them my crevasses, and they do not like to, they like to have makeup likes to settle there on me. So what I do for that is when I go with my concealer, I fix that as much as I can. There's only some things there's only so much that you can do to fix things on your face. But concealer is a big deal. You really need to get a good concealer. I have some concealers that I can give you, I'm sure. I'm going to use my favorite concealer just because I know that I can work with that and work with it fast. And it's a KKW concealer, and it's like moisturizing, so you can double it up. So I'm going to take the concealer and I'm going to start right here. And I'm just going to pull it outwards, right under the eye, and kind of down there. And you're going to want to do the same thing because you have those circles. You can even pull it over here if you need to. But when we go to blend this out, it's going to be the biggest thing. So like I said, I dry blend my concealer because for me and that formula, it works better. So I take a dry sponge and just start pressing it in and then pulling it outwards and downwards across the bridge of the nose and out, back and forth, back and forth. Get as close to your eye waterline, your bottom waterline as you can without going too far up in there. And the more you do it, the more you'll get used to it. So we're trying to brighten up the area. You find the widest area on your face, and that's what we're gonna, like for me, it's right here. So this is, I'm gonna bronze all this. But you do the same thing on this side. Honestly, as long as the concealer is brighter than your foundation, then you'll be fine. But you need to go with a light concealer for sure, since you have like a medium type foundation. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish concealing my face, and I'll show you where else I put concealer and where you probably need to put it. So I put it a little bit here. I go across those lines that I hate. I put like a little stripe down the nose. I go right here where my smile lines are. Right here. And then I put 2 stripes right here. Now you can choose to dry blend this, or you can blend this. I usually blend this with a wet blender up here and then go back in and dry blend it. This is doing nothing but brightening the face and like kind of taking the spots in the center of your face into a lighter point. You're gonna end up bronzing it down, but this is the best way to do it when you have dark circles and you know we start getting wrinkles and stuff like that. And you can bring this all the way up to the eyes if you want to, and just kind of go back over those spots. Or you can just blend it and leave it. This is another point where you can get into the nose area, the crevice of the nose. Now that I've got that, I'm going to pull out my setting powder. And this is so important. So important. I'm just going to pick one here. This is just a really finely milled setting powder like the one I showed you to order for under eyes. And I'm actually gonna take my wet dry blender, and I'm gonna, you might have to do this with your eyes closed because you don't want to get powder in your eyes. But you do the same thing with the setting powders that you did with the concealer. You're setting the area down so it stays, and all those crevasses, those little creases underneath your eyes are filled. If you get it all over the place, it's okay, because this setting powder, you set what you concealed. And then I told you you needed another color powder, like a light color powder, to set the rest of your face, because that's what we're gonna do. I just set my under eye powder. I just use my under eye powder for the places I concealed on my face, not my forehead though. Okay, so now that I've done that, I'm gonna take my other powder that I use that's more like skin tone. And I'm gonna take one of my powder brushes here. And I'm gonna set the rest of my face, and you'll start to see it come together. When you set the rest of your face, you kind of wanna push down first. And you can go around circles, or you can just keep doing that. For my forehead, that's the best way, because I have those crevices up there that I'm trying to keep camouflaged or whatever. Yes, you can go back over the spots that you've already gone with a light powder. It's not gonna hurt, because you can always take this that still has the powder on it and brighten that up more if you need to. But as long as you set this makeup down, it's not gonna go anywhere. And as far as bronzing and stuff, I don't know if you want to do all that, but I can show you how I do it. If not, you can just turn it off, but I'll keep recording while I'm doing the rest of my stuff, just so you can see how I do it if you want. This is how I sculpt my face. I have just like a little bronzer here, and it's a brush that's shaped like this. You could take any fluffy brush though and put like a safety or a paper clip and make it like that. But the shape of that kind of helps with contouring. So remember I said I wanted to make a shadow like effect or contour, like cover up where the biggest part of my face is? Well, that's what I'm doing right now. So the biggest part of my face is right there. So you can see the difference in both sides. Like if you look at me straight on, you can see that it looks like there's a shadow there, and over here it's still poofy and yucky. So I'm going to contour one side of my face and show you the difference. It would be similar to mine, but not as harsh in some spots. Alright, now I'm going to blend all this out. Alright, I'm going to get my nose, and then I'll show you the difference. If you ever feel like you bronze too much, you can just take one of those, or the wet one or the dry one, and just go back over. A lot of times this will melt that into the skin a little better too. Okay, so contoured over here and not contoured. So I don't know if you can tell a difference, but there's a difference there. Contouring the nose just makes the nose look like it's slimmer and it's like not as wide. So that's why I like to contour my nose, because my nose is kind of wide at the bottom. So really it's all about sculpting your face and making your face, you know, if making it have the illusion that it's a different shape than it really is. I know that sounds kind of weird, but you want to keep the brightness up through the middle of your face. So see how it's more bright through here than it is on the outside? So that's what I want. So now I'm going to take some blush. I'm a blush freak, so people always make fun of me for it, but I love blush. Blush can do so much for your face. Highlighter. I have this Wet n Wild highlighter that I use. You know, you were talking about getting that stick from Thrive. This is the same thing, just in powder form. And it's supposed to highlight the inner corner of your eyes or places where you want highlighted. I normally highlight up through here, just to bring a little bit of light. Just a little bit of light through there. Even though this is the biggest part of my face, I'm not hitting there, I'm hitting above it. If you do want to highlight the inner corner of your eyes, you can use the same stuff. You don't have to use a stick. That's gonna move around. That Thrive, they will really do anything to sell stuff, I'm telling you. So to get that same effect, like with that was in that picture, you just take a little tiny brush. See how this brush looks? It's just got a little teeny tiny head on it, and you dip it into the highlight like this, and you just push it. I like to press and spin into the corner of my eye, the inner corner of my eye, and then it just highlights the inner corner of your eye. And it's not wet, so that's the good thing about us. I don't like sticks for that reason, because they get wet. If your eyes water at all, it'll cause them to get wet and run. It'll cause the stuff to run, and then you'll start wiping it. And if you use a powder highlighter, it tends to stay where you put it. And this is the same kind of highlight that I would put in the brow bone, but I haven't done my eyes, and I'm not going to. I'm going to do my brows though. So I hope this helped you, and if you do decide to get like a setting spray or anything like that, I love setting spray. Setting spray is awesome. I like to use the Morphe one. It's a continuous spray mist, and it just, that's how it sprays. This is just another way to make sure everything stays put. And that's that. So, I mean, you can always go back over with a highlighter, or if you feel like you need to press in that setting spray more or whatever, that's going to make sure everything stays locked down as long as possible. So, but that's my favorite. This is one of my favorite foundations. The one that you got is one of my favorites. I use Alabaster, which is the Very Fair Neutral, but I can actually use, see, like this color matches me really good, and you can see the difference in the two shades. So like this one's a lot darker. So I can use a range of foundations that are different colors, and then just make them work for me with powders and setting them and bronzing and highlighting and stuff like that. So anyways, I hope this helps you, and I've got to hurry up and get ready for work, or else I'm going to be late. So I'll see you at work.